This is the Rise Up Morning Somewhere show, and we are live. We're going to talk today about the state of crypto, because it's weird like always. But first, enjoy this song about the end of the world. Where do we begin, my friends? The rubble or our sins? What a question. What a question. If you're like Alex and you absolutely can never hear the YouTube music that I play, that was Pompeii by Bastille, a great song about the end of the world once upon a time. And it is another such time we find ourselves in. At least I feel like, I don't know, I'm not a doomsayer, a naysayer, but I don't know. There's a lot for us to reckon with, a lot of rubble, maybe a lot of sins if you're into that kind of language. Crypto is so weird. It's such a weird time to be here, but I'm glad that you're here with us.
Amen.
And we're excited to tell you about it. So what do you know, Alex, man? How you been, brother? How you doing?
Good, dude. I think I feel like I constantly just sort of imagine us in a Men in Black scenario where there are always about 30 things challenging the end of the world as we know it. And, there's nothing but a few dudes in sharp tuxedos who are preventing it all from happening.
Hey, man, I didn't bring my tux, but this'll do, right?
Yeah, of course.
Well, cool. We've had a big couple of weeks ourselves. There's a lot going on in the crypto space. For the folks who are joining us on Twitter, Bill, welcome. Neil, welcome. I pinned to the top a recent sort of announcement. It was like 6 announcements in one, and we'll go over it in a little bit today. There's also another space going on right now. It won't hurt my feelings if you leave it and go to it. They're doing a more thorough recap. Our friend Dave, DB Crypto, is over there with the X Spaces people talking about Beniamin Mincu's latest, his announcement manifesto, his appearance. He donned his leather jacket to speak to the masses and drop a vision for what is coming on the Multiverse X network. And it was pretty interesting. I know, Alex, you didn't have a chance to see it, so I thought one of the things we could talk about today is I'd give just a little quick recap of that for folks who are interested, give them the high notes, the low notes, and then we could speculate on it a little bit. And of course, if you're with us today and you have thoughts about the announcement. If you have thoughts about anything else going on in the space, then raise your hand, come on up. We'd love to hear it. But first, I want to check in with my friend Bill, because it's been a minute since I talked with him. Bill, my brother, how you been, man?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Man, I am good. It's good to see your face. Good to be back. I missed everybody last week. We were working.
Yeah, it's been a long time, and we got rugged last time. So
I know, man. What's up with that?
knock on wood.
And then we had Lisa doing your job. So it's like, you know, today, give me lots of sound effects today, because we got to make up for it.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you have anything on your board for like woo-woo, philosophical, ominous, but I feel like that was the mood for Beniamin Mincu. Like that, but darker.
That ain't it, Chief.
Yeah. For folks who aren't hip to it, well, I don't know if it was quite that bad. Although I didn't think it was. I don't know. I have a predisposition to be wary about people who take themselves too seriously. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Alex is like, yeah,
dude. I have always in the chamber a number of zero context hot takes for situations such as this. So
okay, well, let me paint you the scene. So we get the black background, the shadowy lighting, kind of like mine. Benny's got his jacket on, that iconic leather jacket he's making a symbol out of. And, you know, I appreciate about Beniamin that he, you know, I love to paint a good picture and tell a great story. And he really does a great job of painting this picture of, you know, we are a movement. But it just felt, I don't know, if you're watching or listening and you're from Multiverse X, please call me. Like, I would love to help them have a more conversational announcement, because he's got, like, you know, his hands together at the fingertips, and it sounds like he's reading from a teleprompter. And I appreciate the thoroughness and the preparation, but sometimes that gets in the way from really just connecting to and inspiring people, which I just know is his goal. I know he really wants to touch people's hearts. So he gave like a 6-step announcement about the 3 years ahead. He calls it 1,000 days of hypergrowth. And the high level points for me are, he synopsized, you know, what we're doing here, blockchain, AI, and the metaverse, their vision, moving from, you know, mail to email and gold to e-gold. He did a really good job laying the table for people. And he talked about the role that all the different apps they're building will play in their ecosystem to come in the coming year specifically. He mentioned that they're going to be traveling a lot. They're going to Dubai. They're going to Shanghai was it? Somewhere in China. They're going to China. They're doing another X Day event. They're going to Bucharest. They've already went to Consensus this year. They're ramping up their travel schedule. And what I really appreciated is, as they launch all this stuff, they are ramping up support, they say. But it was kind of qualified support. He talked a lot about, you know, real builders, and mentioned a couple of names. We want to have venture funding for real builders. He said, we want to have a Discord for real builders. We want to have a Telegram for real builders, and marketing support for real builders.
For anyone who's not watching this visually, I rolled my eyes about 6 times in the last 30 seconds, and I'll qualify that when Evan's done.
The only thing he said more than real builders was strategic platforms, strategic partnerships, strategic business relations. So he revealed a little bit of it, but it was mostly, you know, a vision casting. He didn't say a lot of names in terms of who those strategic partners, who those builders were, but he did promise that in that initiative, they would try to be more responsive. They would have events every month for NFT communities. They would have events every month for developers building. They wanted to implement some hackathons. And the most exciting thing for me was that they plan to implement a 2-hour response time goal for all of these new public forums that they have, so that whoever's there, if we get invited, we should be able to talk to them. He also talked about launch
we're not
pads.
invited.
We're not invited. He did name some of our friends, though. I was really pleased to hear,
you
know, Frame It got a shout out. Nojin got a shout out. Our pals at Drifters got a shout out. Aquaverse got a shout out when he was talking about NFTs and stuff. But not surprised they were next to, you know, Cantina and the Outrun Apes. So the thing I get, my ultimate takeaway is, if you want the unpacking, you really should go back and watch it, because he talks about integrating AI. Sounds like we might get AI assisted 2-factor authentication in X Portal, as well as throughout the Outrun ecosystem. Very cool, very user friendly and helpful. And we're going to get some other AI assistants, maybe like a Benny GPT or something like that. But I just didn't know how to take it. That's what I'm saying to you. Ultimately, my takeaway was, it was some new stuff, this integration of AI. We're traveling more, we're releasing these, support features, doing some events, but it was kind of, I don't know. He's talked about new stuff before in ways that they just didn't execute on. And I get it. Like, we get it, man. We definitely get the complexity of executing on and having to pivot.
For sure.
But I don't know. And he also said, we want your feedback. The most important thing you can do is you can be loud and consistent, but please be considerate, which again, I appreciate, but I don't know.
They don't want
left
feedback.
Me feeling like new info in the same package, and maybe I want your take on this, but also I know you're hearing it from me. So you're getting like the flavor of that skepticism in there. And of course, I see, some folks down in the audience there. If you guys are in the space, I'd like your takes on it too. If I'm being too harsh on Benny, leave me a comment, come up to speak. But what do you think, Alex? What's gonna change your mind? That's kind of what I was asking.
Yeah.
What's gonna change my mind about you, Benny? What's gonna change my mind about Multiverse X?
Do something.
Now, that's what I mean. Like, what are we doing?
All right. If anyone is unsure whether or not I would like to see the platform and the ecosystem and the community and the chain itself succeed, you have no clue who I am, what I do, what I have done, anything else about me. I want it to succeed. I very badly want to see Elron, now Multiverse X, succeed. I, along with Evan and the rest of our team, have built and continue to maintain a multi-thousand holder community on this blockchain since late 2021. One of the first legitimate large collections to exist on this blockchain, and still here, going, working, trying to make it better, all of that stuff. We have been in comms with the team for ages. Mac met him at X Day. If we send them a DM, we will get an answer. That's going back all the way to our phase 1 mint when we were in comms with Lucian and other core Elron dev team members. Multiverse X, sorry. However, I will not change my mind about this team specifically until I see some hard shit in front of me. Because flowery, passionate language ceases to mean anything without follow through. And I've been hearing this from them for a long time. I've been hearing grand plans with absolutely nothing to make me believe that there is any plan to do anything about it. The last time I heard Benny mention NFT communities, it was however long ago he said he was going to change his PFP. Who should I do it to? Which was a dumb idea from the get-go anyway. But then we just crickets, whatever, So it's like, okay, are we engagement farming? What are we doing here?
Nice.
It sounds harsh, and I recognize this. And if you're one of the Multiverse X maxis, just don't at me. I don't care. I will happily eat my words when I see some action. I honestly, I can't wait for that day. But I don't feel bad about my position on it because it's been ages of trying to work with them, trying to get recognition. And I don't care about, like, it's going to sound like I'm bitter that I don't get personally shilled by the team. I don't need them to ever mention my name. But like, actively making it harder for us to do stuff is really obnoxious. Like Inspire.art was the last big thing that launched before X Portal. Unmitigated disaster. What a pile of hot garbage that was. They left off us. They left off Nogons. They actually posted a counterfeit project of ours, which was interesting.
Oh, I remember that. I forgot about that.
Took ages to get them to admit that that wasn't good. Let's try something else. Why don't I give a shit about a real builders Discord? Because there are already 2 of them and they're useless. Why don't I care about a Telegram group for real builders? Because there already is one and it's useless. We've been in it since day 1.
Yeah.
Tanner was trying to get info from them for ages. Trevor 2, Willem 2, Ethan 2, like useless. A whole lot of figure it out, good luck, whatever. Like, why should I believe that this is going to be any different? I don't know. I really do genuinely hope I'm wrong, because I have a lot built here and I have no plans to take it anywhere else. But like, I don't care about your flowery, passionate speeches. Just go do one of the 400 things you said you were going to do.
Now, I will say this real quick, because there's a website up. I think I just pinned it to the top of the space too. I've got it shared on our screen at YouTube. This is a new website they've released, hypergrowth.multiversex.com, that kind of previews this. And it's very thorough, but again, it's sparser on specifics. Like, I scrolled halfway down this page. It was a long scroll. And to your point, Alex, I think there is a time and place for motivational language, but I wish he talked more about, he's got all these upgrades listed here. He touched on them. You know, they've got cool names: the Altair upgrade, the Andromeda upgrade, the Supernova upgrade. He talked, one of the things he previewed was that they are going to be releasing an update that will allow them to integrate zero knowledge technology, which is huge and will be incredibly useful for mainstream adoption.
Totally.
Everyday people are going to love that stuff. They don't need to understand it, don't need to know about it, but they're going to love using it. And he talked for 5 seconds about that. He touches later on it too.
This is the thing though. Like, I don't disagree that yeah, epic. There's already really, really, really compelling and awesome tech that they're using right now that gets no airtime, no attention. And the only people talking about it are the threads from people like Dave, or someone like us in comments, or the occasional errant tweet. Native token standard for NFTs. One other chain that I know of does that, between us and Cardano. That's a massive leg up for personal data sovereignty and autonomy as a user on a blockchain over any other smart contract utilizing blockchain in terms of hosting tokens on a network. Why don't we ever give that any attention? Why don't they ever give that any attention? They couldn't give less of a shit about NFTs. When they do, it's usually highlighting the dumbest things you can imagine. And we don't talk about why they work so well. The reason the corrupted game works the way that it does is because of how good NFTs work on Multiverse X, how easy it is to get information from them, how easy it is to track and trace and use them. And look at how much freedom we have to build things like the corrupted, for example, with what we're doing with the upgrades and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, like, I would also like to see some sort of threshold for what constitutes a builder, because I'm not sure like what we're doing that doesn't qualify as building things. You know, let me know. So whatever, but that's it, man. I just, great. Sounds great. Let me know when shit happens, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't care about speeches anymore.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's I don't know, like, I'm trying to diagnose it as an organizational, like, you know, perspective. Is it that they have a small team? Is it that they have too many projects in the fire? The vision is ambitious. I love it. Are they not communicating about it frequently enough? Are they not investing enough? You know, it might just be yes. And it might be that 5 years from now, they're going to achieve this vision and we'll eat our words. And I would be glad to do it. And I know you would too.
Yeah.
But the road to get there doesn't have to be this hard, is what I feel like. And I also feel like it's unhelpful that people are, I don't know, I feel like people are wooed by the vision in an unhelpful way.
I just, I'm sick of a couple things. One, I'm sick of people like them saying that they want feedback when I know that that's horseshit. Almost no one wants feedback. That's such an empty, hollow thing to say. And like, for example, this morning in our Discord, someone who I won't out wrote a very well-written, thought out kind of thing about the corrupted, detailing some of the issues that I had brought up in my last VC event, where I was talking about my frustrations with current problems within the collection and what I'm looking to fix for this sandbox and next season. And it was great. It was like, yep, I agree with the concerns you raised. I have these concerns. It's cool to hear you say that. I'll be anxiously waiting to see what changes. And then at the end, they were like, sorry, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I'll just keep my mouth shut. And I'm like, why?
That's not going to help anybody.
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot though, where you do open your mouth to express a concern and you just get ramrodded by diehard, cognitively dissonant and deaf tribalist community members that are only looking to try to make you look stupid. It is so prevalent on this blockchain. Honestly, more so than any other chain that I follow influencers or creators or diehards about. And I don't really care. That's my opinion, for obviously full disclosure. But that's been my experience. I would call it not anecdotal anymore because of how much I read. I feel like I've tweeted a couple times about like, hey, this X energy, whatever, is very complex. It's not user friendly. I call myself a semi-literate person in terms of blockchain, and I had a hard time getting it at the beginning. And all I got was a mixture from high-profile individuals in the Elrond NFT or whatever, you know, influencer space that just told me like, it's not any of your business how it works. You don't need to know how it works, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, how are you supposed to onboard the next billion if no one understands any of this shit? Is that your go-to message for a new person? Don't worry yourself with any of the specifics. It's over your dumb little head anyway. Trust me, it works. Trust me, bro. Like, I'm sorry, that's, you can't have an app that's as beginner friendly as Xportal and Myar was, and then pair it with something dumb like X Energy or whatever the hell it's called. I haven't heard a compelling reason for any of that to exist. So I reject the idea that they want feedback. And I know that if anyone gives feedback, strap in, because you're about to get, you know, shafted by everyone on Twitter who, for no reason, with no context and very little information, is waiting to tell you that you're an idiot to doubt Multiverse X. I don't recommend subjecting yourself to that, if I'm perfectly honest.
And I just don't know. I feel like it's hard not to be. I feel like we've been really optimistic for a long time. You
still am, to be very honest. I still am.
I still am too. I'm not unoptimistic, you know. But I just feel like the last couple of weeks, and this is not about Multiverse X so much. This is just about like the crypto space. I don't know, Alex. I feel like we're at the point in the evolutionary chain where like our species of crypto user is either gonna die and be replaced by something better, or they're gonna take over and we're gonna be like, I don't know, we're gonna be Cro-Magnons for the next, 10, 20, I don't know.
But you know what that is?
What?
That's bottom adjacent talk in market cycle terminology.
Bottom adjacent talk. I'm not ready for the bottom to be over, if I'm honest, but
I'm just saying we've been in the throes for a while. Look at the 1 year chart on Bitcoin. And, this is the market territory, right?
I mean, yeah.
If you look at the last time this happened and the time before that, there was a point where everyone's like, this is bleak. It's never coming back. That is very much bear market. I mean, the global economy is not in a great place. The US economy is not in a great place. The crypto economy is in a worse place. All of these things exist. And what that does is it breeds, discontent amongst the natives. And that's just sort of the sentiment that comes out of it.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking internally about some of the different kinds of things that we're doing, and it probably seems to people who follow us like we're doing things a mile a minute, and changing around stuff a lot. But I think, yeah, I know. But we're really trying to hold on and do some cool stuff and find something that resonates with you, whoever you are. We want to be a touchstone for all kinds of different people. And one of the things that we've been pursuing internally the last couple of weeks is we've been talking about giving a little more attention to some of our efforts to help other Web3 companies. And I feel like that might be something good to talk about, because that makes me smile. It makes my heart smile inside. I think it's important for us. We've done a lot of work reaching out to Web2 companies in the last 6 months to really try and get on their radar to help them with consulting. And the moral of the story is a lot of those folks aren't ready to integrate blockchain yet. Or if they are, we're having a hard time reaching them, which doesn't mean we're not trying. We've got some potential communications to someone like Chick-fil-A, which would be a cool brand to work with. But we've been turning our attention in terms of consulting work to Web3 companies. And if you're listening today, this is a opportunity for you too. I would definitely say we're hoping to find more positions in Web3 work that Faceless Labs can connect to. A lot of people are hiring for a social media marketer, a community manager, a business development official, whatever. And we were talking and we realized, oh, these jobs fulfilled by one person, one employee who needs health insurance, et cetera. Like, that's cool. Give someone health insurance. But also, Faceless Labs could do that, and our whole team could do it. And we have a lot of people in our community who could help do those kind of things too.
Well, it was sort of a realization after completing hundreds of reach outs of the full package, all those pieces put together, and realizing that it was just not a common thing for the clients that we wanted to work with and the groups that we wanted to reach out to and help to need all of it. And now you come to find out that no, they are looking for one piece of that. And I don't think that we did a very good job initially of recognizing that not everyone needs the full gambit. Some people just need the biz dev side, the social media marketer side, the content creator side, the community moderation side, whatever it is. And so if we were to chase those leads down instead and reach out to those people and kind of explain to them what we've done, who we are, who our team is, what we're capable of, then instead of assigning necessarily the entire team to do all 12 of those things for you for a hefty price tag, because you have to make it worth it to put the entire group on something, which may be outside the reach of many groups that would need those specific pieces the most, you're just leaving a whole lot of things, untouched. And so we're looking at a little bit better job of sequestering those specific responsibilities and those specific taskings to those of us on the team that have that in their wheelhouse the most hardcore. Like you'd be hard pressed to find someone better than Evan to host a Twitter space for you or your company, right? Like debrief the dude for an hour and stick him live forever. And I'm sorry, but I've never heard anyone host a space like this guy.
Listen, man, and if everything else goes wrong, I've got the soundboard, and I'm sure Bill would come in a pinch. Yeah. Thanks, man.
But it's a much more attainable thing to say to a brand or a company like, hey, you need a better presence here, there, or whatever. You can just take Evan for this bit, pay him this amount, and you have the power of Faceless Labs back here if you would like to execute on more. And here's the full list of things that we're capable of, but you don't need to sign up for this $250,000 package or whatever of 35 services and dedicated 40 hours a week of 8 people who are going to sit here and that's a lot. And maybe you don't want or need that. So, we did not have success reaching out with that offer. So that's kind of the impetus, I guess, for this current strategy.
Yeah, and some of the teams that we're reaching out to, I mean, they're really exciting. A lot of them need community managers, and we know a lot of people, I think, that we could plug in who it would just be. I mean, we were talking there was a post the other day, somebody was asking for a community manager, and I was like, I don't know anybody better than Lisa.
Nope.
Could you imagine if we were more well-connected with more of those opportunities and could say to the many, that's been one of our visions from the start. Hey, here are these positions open. And
I mean, that's the long-term goal, right? Like,
here's some money for you.
Yeah, exactly. Have someone be like, hey, I need X, Y, and Z. I'm in the space. I don't have anyone great. I could slog through all of the applications and all this, whatever, or I can just ping Faceless Labs because they probably know someone and at least make that quick effort. And then, I have 30 referrals. You need a graphic designer? I know one of the best ones I've ever worked with. You need a public speaker? I know one of the best ones I've ever worked with. Community moderator? Same thing.
Devs, whatever. Yeah, we're set for that.
Full consulting suite, got that too.
Yep. Yeah. So some of the people we've seen that I'm applying for one later today called NFT Now. Some of our listeners might know it. They're a media company. They're expanding. They touch a lot of different stuff. Yep. We applied to one at Sui, sometimes called Sway, SUI, the layer 1 blockchain. They've got a really interesting problem that needs a solution.
Oh, very much. You need the help, Sui.
Yeah. If you're listening, Sui, you guys, I'm so sorry. What is it? 700,000 people in their Discord, and it's been locked down for like 2.5 weeks.
767.
What a rough day.
767,000 people, and not one of them are talking to anybody.
Yeah.
It's a travesty.
There was another really cool one I saw that I'm going to apply for later today called Hampton. I was unfamiliar with, but it's a company of tech founders, kind of like a mastermind group. Neil, we've talked about these kind of groups before. You have to have a certain revenue threshold to be invited to join. And then it's just a community that shares best practices from founders across different sectors in the tech startup space. And I thought, man, that would be a great one, help them plan some IRL events, some online events, and just get connected to a community like that and get them connected to us. And speaking of Neil, our friend Neil has joined us on the stage. Neil, my brother, I'm sorry I left your hand raised so long. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Watching Benjamin in front of a black screen and a black leather jacket and a black t-shirt and his black beard and his black hair, that didn't feel very welcoming.
Yeah, good thing he's so pale, or I would have lost him.
I mean, it was advertised as live. It clearly wasn't. That was just something that they uploaded. I felt like I was sitting in like my regional meeting that I have for my company, talking about grand visions and no action plans, no dates, nothing, not even a smidge. So I felt very underwhelmed. I love the tech. I love Xportal. DeFi is non-existent. So there's, to put a positive spin on it, there's a lot of opportunity for them to improve upon and for goals to be met. But I walked away from that not wanting to get Xportal. So I'll leave it there.
Okay, so if you had to give a prescription for him to fulfill some of that opportunity gap, a couple actionable things. Obviously, a lighter background. But what else are you going with?
Action. Okay, yeah. So the overall tone, you're on. Half the people probably watched it on their, well, actually 2/3 probably watched it on their phone, and a third probably watched it on their desktop. It's visual. It's not audio, it's visual, so you have to take that into account. And how that was set up visually is absolutely horrible. Number two, I understand that, Beniamin, or however you pronounce his name, I mean, he's the CEO. I'm not sure he's the best communicator. And I think they need to have a professional PR person. He can come out and, do 5 minutes, but if you look at any other, major tech company, you'll have, Google or, Tim Cook or whatever, they'll do their 10 minutes kind of overview, but then you have, product leads or certain department heads come on that have more intricate knowledge, that have more details to provide the audience with something to walk away with. I walked away with nothing. I walked away with weight. I mean, honestly. So I think that's an area that they can improve upon as well. The feedback thing, Alex says nobody wants feedback. I disagree with that. The right people want feedback. I know you guys have had your interactions with, Elrond and whatnot, so you guys can better speak to that as well. But yeah, these MVX maxis, and I love Dave. I do, and the amount of work and time that he puts into it. I don't know if I've ever seen him criticize MVX. I don't know. So yeah.
Those are good takes, man.
I'll leave it there.
Those are good takes. And I especially resonate with that's what gives me pause. What I started it with about Benjamin's demeanor and his prepared delivery, the kind of lack of connection there. I get from him over and over that he wants to be the guy in front of people speaking. And there are a few scenarios. Either he's the best English speaker on his team, or he's the, most charismatic on his team, which is very possible because they're a bunch of devs. But I've got to believe that enough people have given him that feedback, or he knows enough people, he's in touch with enough people who can genuinely, sincerely connect to an audience, communicate information so that they understand it and are motivated to do something about it. And it makes me believe that either he's not intelligent, wise enough to to know that that's a need, or he has an ego thing, which,
That's exactly what I was going to say, Evan.
you know,
It's ego.
you think so? I mean, I don't know him personally, but I worry about that. I think it reminds me of, I know a lot of people growing up as an actor who you would walk into an audition and you'd meet tons of people, and a lot of them, they wanted to be an actor. Why? So I can be famous. And some of them were okay, and none of them were really great, because the it's like the sword and the stone thing. If all you want is to be king, you're never going to pull the sword from the stone. I don't know. And that really gives me pause. I feel like maybe Steve Jobs was an egomaniac, but at least he could communicate with people, and so it was worth it. But I don't know. I'm scared of that. I'm a little scared of that.
And I'll just say, I could have done that presentation.
Yeah, of course you could have.
Because he was clearly reading off of a teleprompter above him.
Yeah.
If you see any, whatever, Fortune 100 companies do any of their presentations, tech-wise or whatever, it's not a canned presentation. And it comes off very hollow. It's like I'm signing up to be a Sith Lord or something. I have no idea. It was just the vibes were very bad. And if their goal is to, get adoption, mass adoption, they've got probably Europe on lock, just with their background, the languages that they're able to speak. And if they want to appeal to U.S. customers, I'm sorry, but you're going to need to have another spokesperson in front of them. Good on him for learning English and being able to speak very well. I can't speak any other languages, but I think there does become a certain barrier to some people that hear him talk, or the way he delivers his presentation in English, that may not come off well. And I don't think it came off very well.
Yeah, good words, man. Good words. Well, he wants feedback, so if we're in that Telegram group, I guess we'll give it to him.
I'm not a real builder, so
don't worry, we're not real builders either.
Yeah, I knew he was reading off a teleprompter, and I did feel, it's hard. It's a really, just like building a blockchain is a hard skill. Reading off a teleprompter is a hard skill. And fun fact, the real pros in the industry don't even use teleprompters. They use something called an ear, which is a specific proprietary type of earpiece where you record your speech and it recites it to you about 5 seconds ahead. So you're hearing yourself speak the next line and then you deliver it. And it's got its own pitfalls too. But like watching somebody who's, trying to work with it, I have a lot of sympathy for somebody reading a teleprompter, especially when they're reading words like XOXNO and no gen. You know what I mean? Like that's a tough day.
Dead rare. He said dead rare.
He said dead rare. I know. Oh, I forgot to say that, Alex. One of his real builders was dead rare.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
So there's a lot of cognitive dissonance in the Multiverse X Maxi community, or maybe there's not. Maybe they're not paying that much attention. I don't know.
I will qualify that by saying that there's cognitive dissonance in absolutely every space in the crypto space.
That was another thing I put on the headline today was, what do you guys think about the Ben token? Can we just talk about that for a minute? That's another thing that makes me just want to take my ball and go home.
Yeah.
Did you see that BitBoy is like hard on, Ben.eth, like just chilling? He's entered his next phase, and it's the absolutely fully no questions asked illegal part of my career.
It's just, I honestly don't really want to talk about it.
Then let's not talk about it. I just had to say it so people know it's on my chest.
No, it makes me sad. It makes me sad.
Fucking gross. I'll say that.
Yeah, this can apply to anything. When you have the platform and you choose to use it like an absolute tool bag, you make me sad. You're pathetic.
Did you see? But this was something I think Mac posted it in our internal chat. I just pinned it to the top of the Twitter space, and I'm looking for it here so I can share it with everybody who's watching on YouTube. Is BitBoy appeared in a rap music video? I didn't recognize the artist. I think it was a promotion for some kind of space they're doing, and he's just chilling in his jacket.
It's important to know that this is not satire.
It's not?
No.
Oh. Okay. I mean, hey
How
man,
much-
listen.
How much
Again,
worse does that make it for you?
I mean, it makes it worse. And my point in this, I got to make it clear to the audience. My point is, we are not trying to pick on BitBoy, but when you have that kind of influence, you got to have people call you in. Like, we need to stop kowtowing to people who have influence because we think that they could make us a little bit more wealthy monetarily than we are today. It is so important to lovingly let people know, like, hey, that's not the best use of your time, your attention, my attention. And I just don't know how we do that. That's my problem with the Multiverse X thing. That's my problem with the Ben token. That's my problem with all of it. Is like, why are we paying attention to the things that are really not making us wealthy, let alone rich? Lone Wolf asked here. Maybe you want to take this, Alex. I don't know that I can give a recommendation to this answer, but we got a comment on YouTube from Lone Wolf. Welcome to the show. Best coin to buy now. And tell them what we say, Alex.
I am not a financial advisor. There is absolutely no way that I could possibly tell you where to put your money. Right now, it's all risky. So I would say that if you are a believer in the space, then you probably have a reason that you're a believer in the space, and you should find the project that best resonates with that belief and invest in that one.
And let me add to that, because that's the perfect answer. If you're wondering, well, I just asked you what coin to buy. It's not a one size fits all thing. That's what we're saying. And why are we here? We're here because Alex and I, we're friends who have other friends who've spent time curious about this stuff, learning about it. And the best advice I can get you is, if you're curious about investing in cryptocurrency, hang out with people like us more. And let's talk about specific projects. Let's talk about specific tokens that represent those projects and why they might be interesting for us to own, whether they're a fungible token like Bitcoin or a non-fungible token like a CryptoPunk. People have different reasons for purchasing, and it's tough for us to even begin to say, why our friends might own a particular thing unless we know a little more about it. So if you want to learn about it, what coin is the best for you? Come hang out with us more and, start looking around at projects. I'd hang out at CoinDesk. I would hang out in the Faceless Many Discord. Lots of places you can go to just start learning more. Don't buy something another person is recommending to you. That's not how you do it. If somebody tells you that they're going to make you rich, they found the next whatever, you're probably already too late to it. And even if you are in the profit, you're gambling,
Yep.
You're gambling, which is okay.
Well,
Gambling is cool, but it's not how you want to invest. They're different.
That question in and of itself is a little bit of a red herring, because that's not really the question that you're trying to ask. The question you're trying to ask is, what should I put my money into right now that's going to make me rich tomorrow? And the short answer is that no one knows.
I don't know.
So, yeah, I guess the answer to the actual question that you should have asked is, I don't know, and neither does anybody else. And anyone who purports to tell you otherwise is full of shit. But good luck.
What do you think?
Good luck on the slot machine.
The number one place to spend your money right now is education on cryptocurrency, and figure out what you want to do, and then you'll become your own expert.
Yeah, or building a skill. Like there are so many courses right now. There are so many tools right now that you can either use for free and get a free course on, or that you can pay a little bit of money, like to GPT-4 or a Midjourney subscription, or even a premium subscription to. There are a couple of I would say crypto courses or resources that might be worth it, but there's so much free stuff out there. All you're investing is your time, which is valuable, but.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that? If you take the actual question that should have been asked, which is, where do I put $100 and turn it into $1 million? The answer to that is exactly what Evan just said. Pay for a Midjourney subscription and spend your time learning how to use it really, really well, and then get a job as a Midjourney prompt engineer, because there are lots of people looking for that right now, and turn it into a close to six-figure salary full-time job for yourself, working remotely from home. And there you go. You're going to make way more money doing that than you would by gambling on Sneck or Loyal or Ben or whatever pile of shit some dingleberry is launching right now. So there you go. You're welcome.
Neil, are you hitting any of that 6+ figure Midjourney prompt engineer gold mine?
Yeah, so that's a bridge that's a bit too far for me to cross because the amount of time that would take for me. I'm fairly good with Midjourney, but
Fairly good,
I
he
need
says.
reoccurring revenue streams to support my family and whatnot. So yeah, I do it as a hobby, and I'm halfway decent at it.
Halfway decent.
He's at least 4/5 of the way decent at it for anyone listening.
There's no button for modest on my soundboard.
Yeah. I see we have Hal who just joined us on the stage. Hal, welcome. Everybody who's listening now, welcome. Our friend Lisa is here. Jower's here. Hal, what brings you up today? How you been?
Oh, good. I actually forgot that I had requested to come up, so I'm funny.
It's okay, man.
Question, dude.
The reason that I'd asked to come up though was when Neil was talking about onboarding, and then somebody mentioned the education piece, and I'm a little biased on this particular topic just because of working in higher ed, but it still like blows me away that there are not more partnerships in the crypto space with higher ed. And when this recent announcement, I was going through the webpage, and I got really hyped up about the hackathon opportunity, and so I immediately scrolled and looked for that, and my first gut reaction was, oh, it's only $1 million. And then I was like, okay, well, that's a good starting point. And so I started to forward it to our CS guy who's building out our cybersecurity program, and I was like, this is a huge opportunity for us to host something.
Right, and for folks that don't know, you work in higher education, so that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
no,
so
it's good, brother.
I work in higher ed, and so I was just immediately excited about it, and then it took all of about 10 minutes for me to get really deflated because I was like, it's only $1 million, and then if you click on the apply to host a hackathon, it was like, well, tell us why you're beneficial to us. And I thought, well, that's not really helpful because you're just basically asking somebody to justify why they're a good free marketing opportunity for you, not how they can help bring more people to your space or how, Multiverse X can benefit you hosting them. It just seemed really empty. And I was really disappointed by that. And I would love to see us, host something on our campus, and I'd love to see more students get involved. I think it would be fantastic, but without any kind of a solid plan and without any confidence, I guess, that there would be real follow-up from the team, particularly because we're in the US, it just makes me immediately get frustrated without even trying or wanting, or, you know what I mean? Like losing confidence in even taking that step to try.
Yeah. Do you think that it would be helpful for them to, I mean, how does that start in your mind? What does it look like? It starts with a language shift is what I'm hearing. First of all, like you got to say the right words and then back up your words with actions. But I guess, what do those actions look like to you? Does it look like a better form that is more helpful, that really is genuine? Does it look like more money? Does it look like a program or initiative? Less maybe like one-on-one grants and maybe like a college students everywhere. What do you think?
Boy, that's a really good question. I mean, I don't know that the one-on-one grant opportunity is necessary. I mean, you could almost do some kind of a broad hosting opportunity that, you could host the hackathon from a remote perspective.
Sure.
I guess it would entail more planning, like having more to back it up. It just doesn't feel like it's a really concrete opportunity. Mm-hmm. So, anytime I tell a faculty member there's funding available for something, they get a little excited. So there's nothing wrong with that. But from the team perspective, from the Multiverse X team perspective, I don't have a lot of confidence that they would really be all that supportive, or that they would waste the time to come over here, to participate in person or anything like that. I just don't think that they have that much interest, or it seems like maybe they already have their opportunities picked out. and it's just sort of a red herring to say, yeah, we're supportive of these efforts, but we already have our partners in mind, and so we're just throwing this out there so it looks like we're doing a little bit of publicity, but ultimately we already have our 5 places picked out, and that's already done.
I got that impression too. And the way that they said, we have partnerships either that we've already announced, or they would say, and we have an upcoming partner that we will reveal. And then everything else in the median was just kind of generic. Like, we will be releasing, or we will be announcing. I don't know.
That's very
it's
much
discouraging.
2021 language where that was good enough. Yeah, no, we're going to do something. It's going to be great.
Yeah, probably nothing.
No one gives a shit.
Literally, probably nothing.
Do the thing, and they still don't give a shit. So,
Hal, I have a question for you. So you're in higher ed. I'm assuming that's college, correct?
Yeah.
How many? What would be the percentage of students, if you had to guess, that own cryptocurrency, or even know what it is, or even like know how to buy some?
Well, that is an awesome question. So Alex and Evan and Mac were kind enough to jump on a call with some students. We have an entrepreneurial student group, and several of them are thinking about software products and are trying to learn more about blockchain and how they might use it to build whatever their product is. It always shocks me because I can talk to 1 or 2 kids over lunch and I'll get this impression that, 50% of our student body owns a little bit of Bitcoin, or they own a little bit of Ethereum. And I just kind of walk away with this assumed notion that they understand what that is. And the 50% is probably real high. I would say a fair majority of our students own a crypto, but they don't really know what they own.
Yeah.
Or understand what it's really for. It was just, let's try and mine this. And they're a CS student and they were curious about it, but they don't really know what to do with it. And I work we're just an engineering college.
Yeah.
And so I would think that the knowledge of that tech would be much higher. And it's not. And figuring out how to translate that over to an educational opportunity is really difficult because faculty are resistant to that, as they are with many things in higher ed.
Yeah, just for context, Christian is the connection that we made to the university that we're actually partnering with for a senior capstone engineering project to build out one of the things that we're working on. And it was interesting, that initial meeting that we had with the student engineering team that chose our project. That's what the first thing that we asked them was, what's your experience with the space? Do you have any? And they were all aware, obviously. And I think one of them was a minor, but exactly like you just said, Christian, wasn't like, knew how to mine it, knew how to run it, knew how mining worked and all that, but didn't know then what to do next, and was looking to expand that.
Yeah, and they really didn't have a knowledge of like the fundamental. None of them had programmed anything in a on a blockchain, and a lot of them, we were talking about like what is an NFT, and not just like here is what it is, definitionally, but like why might it matter? And these are people who probably, once they hear that information, will grasp it at a deeper level than the average person on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And they're seniors in college, so they've had a lot of exposure to curriculum. I hope that programs like that can scale, I think, is the hard thing.
Sure.
It's worth investing time in a small group of people and, building a project together. But then, the question is, how do we help those people to scale that knowledge? I think is a real challenge.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think you have to have, especially when it comes to this, you have to have faculty buy-in. There's so many levels in higher ed that you have to get commitment from.
Yep.
But it's just a weird, it's such a weird bridge to cross. And in so many other things that I've seen in new tech development, that have come to our school, is a lot of those things are really easy to grasp. And I think the part of the problem is that with blockchain, it's all focused on the currency part of it. Like the general population is just so honed in on this obscure currency idea that they can't grasp what the blockchain actually is. And one of our trustees is real high up at Kraken, and has, you know, I've been working with him a lot to try and bring some of this to campus just to get general exposure. We're not even talking about developing classes. We're not talking about anything like that. We're just talking about talking about it.
Yeah.
And you just see all these people who are incredibly intelligent and very knowledgeable when it comes to computer and software engineering, and they just kind of scratch their heads and they just go, oh, yeah, I guess if you want to do something about it, that's fine. They don't get really jazzed up about it. No. So yeah, I wish I had a solution, but that's goes back to the whole hackathon idea. It was like, kids get into that stuff, and lots of people would get really excited about being involved in something like that. But I don't know whether it's a Multiverse X or any other chain, how that's translated to other college campuses. So that's something that I'm going to start looking into a little bit more.
Well, if it's helpful for you, you know, as we were talking to the project group, and for everybody listening, this is, you know, something that we're working on to help build out Shoup. Our folks know that we're building a platform that will help bring NFTs to the masses in the face of consumer and corporate benefits, loyalty programs, etc. And we want to build an alternative to Discord, a more native to NFT platform. And we described it as such in the proposal for these students to pick a project team. And every one of them was like, oh, we saw that you were building something that was like Discord, and all of us use Discord. We're gamers. We love it. And so I think the secret sauce really is for people who are, I mean, I don't know, we've really screwed this up. You would think the economics people would understand cryptocurrency, but we've told them a bad story. You would think the gaming people would understand NFTs, but we've told them a bad story. And so we've got to get that story straight. We've got to put it in terms that they understand. We got to put it in a gaming context. We got to put it in identity context. We got to stop the meme coins and stuff, so that instead of coming to the live, not that there's anything wrong with this, and asking, what coin should I buy? You will say, how can I prove my house is real, or that I own my house? How can I prove my house is real? You see what I'm saying? I'm getting flustered because I'm talking about it, but we got to shift the talk, I think, to use cases. Every day. Beniamin said that too. And this is the last thing I'll say, because I got to say one more thing about Beniamin. He said, Bitcoin and Ethereum are hard for everyday people to understand. Just try and explain it to them. Oh no, he called them normal people. For normal people to understand, just try and explain it to them, and you will see they don't get it. And I was like, man, come on, man. You know, I don't know. We can do better.
Bruh. Yeah, no,
Bitcoin
Bitcoin is too complicated. Let's introduce them to MEX and X energy.
Right. I was like, what are you doing for everyday people, brother? Have you, real quick, you had a comment, but speaking of stupid explanations, have you heard Jack Mahler's explanation for Bitcoin? There's a video on TikTok. I got to tag you in this. Yeah. Jack Mahler, he did Lightning Network. Everybody listening, you got to go watch this video. He says he was sitting at a VC's house trying to explain Bitcoin to him, and there was a bowl full of trail mix, and he dumped it out on the table, and he said, these tortilla chips, they're people, and these pretzels, they're banks. If you want to send money from this tortilla chip to this tortilla chip, you got to send it through a pretzel. He said, but Bitcoin removes the pretzels, and now all the tortilla chips can send each other money without anyone. And he was like, I felt so dumb doing it. He said, I knew it was either going to make my career or he was going to tell me to get the hell out of his house. But I was like, yeah, man, that's basically what it does. It's simple, you know?
It's not complicated. It's really not.
Yeah, we're screwing it up, man.
Well,
what were you going to say?
Just that, you know, like you said, I've heard you say we tell a bad story. I agree. I needed you to phrase it that way. I kind of knew what the problem was for a while, but didn't have that wording.
It's my soapbox.
But I will say that I think the reason we are is just because there's money attached to it, and money brings out the worst in people. And that's the only reason that I'm like jacked on bear market vibes, is because if you remove the money potential, then the 5 people who give a shit about why the technology exists continue to do stuff with it, and then they're also forced to explain it to you in a way that doesn't involve, you can make money if you join me. And that's refreshing, because right now I'm very tapped into the gaming ecosystem and industry, and everyone and their grandmother is complaining about Web3 gaming, and it's because the 99% majority of it is just, you know, a built bullshit Ponzi farm with a really crappy game in the middle of it, as a mechanic to get you to use their token, which has no purpose. So the more of that stuff dies, the better, because
But at least the discourse is going in that direction. I feel like all
Yeah.
the cool, there are a lot of cool Web3 gaming accounts, yourself included, and everybody is talking about that, about how it's like play to earn is a cool idea, but like, let's talk about how it's, you know, games should be fun.
let's chill for a second and realize that none of you know how to make a game that's actually entertaining or fun to play. Then you can talk about how you're going to pay people to play it with a token that means nothing.
Yeah.
Like that. I was talking to someone that I know who's an active game developer, and he was basically saying that every time he has a meeting, the first question that gets asked of him is, are you building this game on Web3? First of all, that's a loaded question because it's bullshit and it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And it just shows that whoever asked you has no clue what they're even asking you about anyway. But if the answer to that question had been yes, they would have walked immediately, because they're like, good, I hope that I hear that that's nothing but garbage. And, you know, it's like, I hope that all of you know who, if this is you, if it describes you, that you're a big fan of the industry, but this is how you carry yourself and this is how you share it with people, you are shooting all of us in the feet every single time you open your mouth, and you need to shut the hell up.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with, you can be right and quiet at the same time.
Yeah.
You can be wrong and quiet at the same time.
It's a skill that all of you need to learn and execute. You need to shut up and listen to people who are doing a better job than you are. And there is nothing wrong with you being quiet for a little bit and listening. You'd be amazed what you can pick up if you shut.
So contrary to what may be popular opinion,
I'm
I do it all
fired
the
up
time.
today. I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm not usually this crass, I guess, but
somebody put something in Alex's Kool-Aid.
That's a lie. I'm always this crass.
You are always fired up. Sometimes you hold it back though. You know, that's like the whole crypto thing to me. People come at you and they're like, this isn't Web3 gaming, is it? And you just have to have some nuance to be able to say to them, no, not at all. What we're doing is we're giving every player true ownership of all the items in their game.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? And they'll be like, wow, yeah, it is great. That sounds great. You know, like, just talk about it how it is.
I would honestly, if someone asked me that, I would just turn around and be like, what do you mean?
What's Web3?
What does that mean?
They'd be like, I don't know. Is it in the room with us right now?
Yeah. What is Web3? Can you see Web3 right now? Do you hear Web3 speaking to you at night?
Okay, so speaking of games, we've got some games we need you to try. We need you to try the Founders Forge beta if you haven't yet. It's at foundersforge.io. We would love for you to give us some feedback. We haven't been talking about it as much because we've been trying to get together a better plan for how to communicate about all the things we're doing at Founders Forge. But we still want your feedback on it. We'd love to build a game that is fun, that is educational, and just has a cool vibe. Check that out. And then, of course, we've got more corrupted stuff going on, but maybe we can talk about what's coming up next to the corrupted another day. I feel like it might be time to hit some final thoughts and then send everybody off into their weekend. You feel good about that, brother?
Absolutely.
Okay. Friends, Bill, Christian, Neil, you guys have a final thought, good joke, word of wisdom for us?
I can go first.
I should address someone. I always make that mistake of saying like 5 people and then everyone's being so polite. Sorry. Thank you, Bill. Please go.
Well, there's a lot there. So this hour went fast. I'm actually, and it kind of had a vibe that we were all kind of kicking a can, like, pour me, pour this. This sucks.
Well, listen, man, I can keep it going. I want to hear you. I want to hear you vibe.
But no, I was thinking the opposite. I think we should look at, the positives of it. The thing that kind of, the metaphor that kind of sticks out to me about this whole Web3 is that it's like the wild, wild west, and Faceless Labs is like some New Yorkers in suits coming to pitch the stock market, but nobody other than the people in New York know that stock market exists, know how to use it to their benefit. So they kind of look at you like, well, what the heck do I need that for? Or so what? And so I feel like we're just really just in the infancy. So if we can take that understanding and realize that, this is the and roads will be built and cities will be formed and all that stuff, and pretty soon we'll be connected. I think that's a good way to kind of look at it. We're still so early. It just feels like we're not, because a week in Web3 feels like a month or 6 months or a year.
Man, I know that's the truth. I
Yeah.
think it was I hit a button on the soundboard.
So that's the big thing, is like, you say we've been in, I've been with you guys for almost a year and a half. You guys have been doing this for a little over 2 years, but it feels like, half a decade, crying out loud. So it's like, we definitely need to take that with a grain of salt, that we're really still in the infancy. I think, Neil brought up some good points. The other thing I was going to say, and I kind of lost my train of thought, so I think I'll just kind of end it there. We're going in the right direction. There's a lot going on. Just have to keep educating people, and hopefully something sticks.
Listen, man, I'll give you some for that. I hear Beniamin Mincu is looking for a US PR person. I would hear that.
Yeah.
Wait, is that real, or
No,
did you just make that up?
He just made that
Because he had one and he fired him like immediately.
Well, Neil said something about it, and Bill gave such a that was like a really good, positive, uplifting message, and so if he's listening, he should call. Christian, man, what about you? Since Bill touched on education, and that was kind of our last talk, do you have any parting jokes, words of wisdom, fortune cookies?
Jokes I am fresh out of today, but no, I think we're like we said, a week in crypto is feels like a year sometimes, and I think it's just a good reminder that to Neil's point, like, bringing education forward has to be the next step, and the only way that's going to happen is if you find partners in the right places that are going to want to build those bridges together. And like the best networkers that I've ever seen, I think, and you've got connections all over the place. And I think that's the kind of attitude that is required on both ends of it, in trying to meet in the middle, right? Like what's the quickest way that we can bring this information to people to grow understanding and participation? And it's a grind, but at the same time, I think it's all going to be worth it in the end. So we just got to keep doing it.
Good word, man. Neil, what about you?
What is Beethoven's favorite fruit?
I don't know what.
Banana.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
I am a big fan of this.
I just had to hit him with that. That was a good joke. I will give you my my final thought in the form of a fortune cookie, and all it says in this fortune cookie is hashtag jacked on bear market vibes. I'm going to turn that into a t-shirt, and I'm going to send it to Alex. And when I do, I promise we'll tell you about it. Alex, you got anything before we head out the door, man?
Nope.
Okay.
Well,
friends, I am well met. Alex is well met. This is the Rise Up Morning Somewhere show. We will be back at the same time next week. And until then, you can follow us at Faceless Labs. You can head to our Discord, chat with us, or send us a message. I'm at Evan_man. He's at Demonic Crypto. We're easy to find. We're happy to talk to you. And oh, I forgot. Guys.
Oh my
There's
God.
a POAP for today's show.
We forgot because we've been getting burned so many times lately.
There's a POAP for today's show. There are, in fact, 3 POAPs for today's show. But as may be expected, I am again fighting with the POAP people. And I wanted to tell you that I will have an announcement for anybody who listened to the show. Stay tuned. We've got not 1, not 2. We've got 3 POAPs, because one of the things we need in the coming weeks is more feedback from you about the book that we're releasing. We're releasing a book for the young and the young at heart to relay an inspiring message about our space, a very Beniamin Mincu styled message that casts a vision about the hero inside of you. You don't got to know a darn thing about blockchain to appreciate it, but it speaks to the heart of our movement. And so we've got 3 POAPs featuring 3 of the images that we have crafted that we really like. There's many more. We'll be sharing them on Founders Forge.io. We've been doing some internally. Our friend Neil has helped us come up with some just to try and get a better approximation of what folks would like to see when they look at the cover of a book that would make them go, gosh, I got to read that. So stay tuned. We'll have a POAP for you. And the secret word will be option 1, like the number 1, option 2, like the number 2, and option 3. I kept it super simple. All one word. All lowercase, no spaces. It's not live yet, but when it goes live, I'll tell you. Those are the words you'll need. And you, yes, you, can claim your very own POAPs featuring prototype art from Rise Up, our forthcoming book. So with that, come back next Friday, get your POAPs, and we will see you next time on the official Morning Somewhere show of the financial revolution. Until next time, my friends, rise up.
My dad can beat up your dad. I am so bored with cookie cutter projects. They're just shitty little projects. Hey man. Hey man. Hey man. And that's just bullshit. It's honestly really annoying, but hey, that's the best we can do. Not ideal. Hey man. Hey man. Hey man. My dad can beat up your dad. Hey man. This is a gross misrepresentation of the facts. Hey man. It's just stupid. I will absolutely die on this hill. Hey man. Little old Brad is a dumbass. In light of this, give it a try. Not gonna lie, I've got a pretty cool life. I am so bored with cookie cutter projects. They're just shitty little projects. I mean, isn't it pretty obvious what's happening here? No one has any clue what's going to happen. There is only one way to say this. It's honestly really annoying, but hey, that's the best we can do. And that's just bullshit. Hey man. Hey man. Hey man. Hey man. Hey man. They're just shitty little projects. And that's just bullshit. Hey man. Hey man. Hey man. My dad can beat up your dad. I feel uniquely qualified to share this opinion, so here we go. I am a big fan of this. I will absolutely die on this hill. As you know, we are just two people sharing their opinions on the internet. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
There you go, man. No music, but the sultry sound of your voice. Hey,